What's going on here in the Beat Sessions? I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Belle and Sebastian are back, so let's talk about them. They got a new record entitled A Bit of Previous, and that was released on May 6th. This is the band's 11th studio album and their follow-up to 2019's Days of the Bagnalled Summer. There seems to be some disagreement on this. A lot of people seem to think that this is the band's first record in 7 years, their follow-up to 2015's Girls in Peacetime Wanna Dance. That's a great record, but so is Days of the Bagnalled Summer, and as far as I know, that's all new original material, and unless I'm listening to a different Belle and Sebastian, I'm going to count it. Some people might not because it's a soundtrack. If you disagree, let's have a debate in the comments section below. I'm down to bring the thunder. I'm going to count it. Days of the Bagnalled Summer is what this record follows up. That record, very indie folk driven. A lot on that record that reminds me of Elliott Smith. And so what I really like about this new album, Stuart Murdoch and company are just laying down a really fun sonic landscape that's just going to be excellent to explore over and over again. Really like the range of music on this album. And considering that it was released on the same day as Arcade Fire's We, and that there are a lot of similarities here, I'm going to make some comparisons. I think they made great companion pieces. And if you're gonna make me pick one, I'm going to say that Belle and Sebastian put out the better record. Aside from the fact that both bands have a lot of players, consistency there as well. I really like that about both outfits as well. A lot of consistency as far as the personnel over the years. You get a broad range of sounds that we're exploring on both records. Lots of indie folk, great alternative rock, a little bit of disco and funk. You know, there's soul, R&B, all sorts of other things going on. And thematically, a lot of similarities as well. But I think that Belle and Sebastian lyrically is doing it better on this project as well. There's this great contrast between youth and how it's fleeting and it just passes us by so quick, and how that can really be deflating for a lot of people. But I like the fact that there's an existential approach on this record as far as, you know what, life is too short to live within this toxic bubble of your own creation. And so pop that thing, get out there and explore. Don't be afraid to be hurt. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's going to happen. It's how you learn. And I like the approach that they're taking lyrically on this record, and the music balances that energy. It's really light. It's fun to listen to. This is a fun, upbeat album. We felt a little dark, and granted, it's inspired by, you know, one of the most probably groundbreaking dystopian books that has been put out there. And that literature generally, you know, when you start those stories, they start off with characters in a very dark place. So, you know, it makes sense that Arcade Fire did that with We, but given the last two and a half years with the pandemic, I like what Stuart Murdoch and the rest of the band are doing with this record as far as that approach. And I think that on this particular record, they did it better. That's what I'll say too. I like We. It's definitely not Arcade Fire's best record by any means though. And I would argue that, you know, Belle and Sebastian with this new record, they're flirting with that territory. This is easily one of their best efforts in the last decade. And honestly, I'm going to hear a lot of debate. I think that this is, you know, arguably their best album to date. It's a lot of fun to listen to. It's a great experience, and it's great to have them back. If it has been 7 years, you know, not doing a soundtrack and really hitting their stride as a band. This thing, it kicks off with Young and Stupid. Really nice opener. Lyrically, musically, a great indication of what you're going to get throughout this record. It's got this breezy acoustic riff, folk textures worked into this song. Really like the fiddle on this particular track. Great string element there. And then this song, it fills into this light progressive rocker towards the back end. I like the transition there. And a unique structure within that song. And, you know, you're going to get a lot of that on this record. If They're Shooting at You as your second track, fun intro that kicks into this chill groove. There's just a lot of soul in this track, hints of gospel as well. I like the combination of sounds on this particular song. Talk to Me is your third track. Got this 80s new wave feel, breezy acoustic riff driving that song. There's some progressive rock flute in there. It's tough not to think about Jethro Tull when that instrument comes in on a song like, or any song like this, I should say. Get a little bit of sci-fi synth there as well, adding to that prog rock element. So enjoyed that about that song. Good balance there. This song honestly kind of sounds like Jethro Tull became an 80s new wave band. That's what I'm going to say about that. I think it's cool though. Reclaim the Night. It's got this great electro funk feel for your fourth track. Leads into Do It For Your Country, another great moment on this album, and another sound that I'm hearing a lot too, as far as, you know, this thing reminds me of the Velvet Underground when they did their first record with Nico, and they were doing songs like Sunday Morning and I'll Be Your Mirror. That just kind of classic pop influence, light rock and roll, a little bit of psychedelia in there. Great track, and it's not going to be the last time that you hear that influence on this record. Prophets on Hold is your sixth track. It's going to close out the A side of this record. It's got this electro dance rock feel, light melodies and textures though. Made me think of ABBA for that reason. You get a little bit of disco feel, and then there's this bridge with there's this harmonica element, and it's like heartland rock coming out of nowhere on this kind of like electro dance disco rock song. It's kind of random, but it works, and I think it's really well done. Another fine example of the way this band has the ability just to incorporate so many fun elements into their sound. Unnecessary Drama is your 7th song, going to kick off the B-side. Great new wave rock and roll feel, like made me think of the Cars, the Romantics. Really like the bass riff on that particular track as well. Come On Home. This is probably my favorite song. It's got this funky walking bass with this like ska reggae guitar riff, and then really filling out this track, it's got this classic pop big band kind of feel. It's so random, but really just a fun exploration of the way that you can, just organically combine all these different influences. There's a lot going on in this song that, a lot of bands might do something like this and it could seem forced. Not Belle and Sebastian. Really just showing off why they are who they are. Excellent song. A World Without You is your 9th track. Got this progressive indie rock feel. Reminds me of a band, Granddaddy. Them and My Morning Jacket, 2 alternative rock bands that I'm hearing a lot on this album as well. You get kind of some of those lighter sonic influences from those bands. This particular song, it's got this kind of space synth with this bright melody, bit of surf rock as well. A lot going on that track as well. Deathbed of My Dreams, your 10th song. Psychedelic surf country is really all I can say about it. Cool track, really like the vibe. Leads into your penultimate track, Sea of Sorrow, which is a phenomenal song. It's got this kind of like Supertramp style 70s feel to it, as far as the rock opener, a little piano orchestration coming in on that, and then the song it kicks in perfectly. And like I said, this is just a perfect penultimate track. That and Come On Home, these 2 are definitely my favorites that we're working with on this record. And that penultimate track is going to lead into Working Boy in New York City. Your final song is Bouncy. It's a funky closer. It's got this great pop elements to it, a little bit of slide guitar as well, working into that song. And this record is pretty darn enjoyable. I really dig this record a lot. And, like I said, if you're going to make me pick between Arcade Fire and Belle and Sebastian, I'd say roll with Belle and Sebastian. This is definitely a better record, and we're going to vinyl please this thing for sure. Hope you find this review helpful. Hope you enjoyed listening to this project as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all those things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.